Namaste and welcome to Pramanic Astrology channel and welcome to our Mercury retrograde. And I was having problem with my streaming software and it was not detecting my camera. Okay, so now I've fixed that. Today we are going to discuss about the exaltation of Venus versus debilitation of Venus. Okay, so Venus is the planet of relationship. Venus is the most benefic planet. Venus is also the planet of creation. The creation of Venus is the finest creation, right? Because it is involved with the sexual activities, which is resulting in creating children, creating legacies. Okay, so that's what Venus is all about. And when Venus goes into the sign of Pisces, it goes into the sign of exaltation, and it becomes debilitated into the sign of Virgo. Venus is the planet of love, and love is not calculative. Okay, love is blind. When you are in love, even if you know that the other person is having some flaws in their personality, you still love them. You're not calculating any benefits out of it. Okay, ideal love is all about sharing and companionship. Okay, so Pisces is the sign of exaltation for Venus. Guys, please confirm the audio. I don't want any. Please confirm the. Okay, let me just fix this. Now let me just pull this. Great. So Venus and Venus debilitation versus Venus exaltation. Okay, we oftentimes uh, are dealing with the extremes of these Venus, and how do we judge them? Okay, so when Venus is exalted, Venus is into the sign of Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. Okay, you will be surprised that Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, and it's a guru, which is more like a spiritual planet. And why the planet of material things is getting exalted into the sign of Jupiter? Okay, you will observe that Pisces is the 12th sign. Pisces is the sign of the ultimate liberation. The 12th sign also has the correlations with the bed pleasures, the 12th house things. Okay, so Venus is all about your sexual activities, is about your bed pleasures, is about the luxuries and comforts. Okay, 12th house is about the secrecy along with the 8th house, and Venus is about the sexual activities, which are usually mostly secretive, which shows your relationships are mostly secretive. So the planet of Venus gets exalted into the sign of Pisces, and the element which is ruling this sign is water element. Water element is all about the nourishment of the planet. That's why the Venus is all about the luxuries and the comfort. That's what nourishes us, right? So Venus is about the nourishment, and which is pretty much the water element. So it gets exalted into the sign of Venus, into the sign of Pisces. And modality is dual, which is the connecting between the chara and the fixed sign. Okay. So when Venus gets exalted, it goes into the sign of Pisces, and it has during that portion of the degrees, we have three nakshatras: Purva Bhadrapada, Uttara Bhadrapada, and Revati. In Purva Bhadrapada, we have one pada, which goes into the Cancer Navamsha, and in Uttara Bhadrapada, we have four padas, which is Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. And when it goes into the Sagittarius, into the Revati, it goes into the Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay, so when Venus is exalted and is into the third pada of Uttara Bhadrapada, it's like the sign of exaltation and the Navamsha, like in its own Navamsha. But when it is into the into the nakshatra of Revati and into the fourth pada of the Revati, it becomes the vargottama. Like in D1 as well, it would be exalted, and in D9 as well, it would be exalted. Okay, so this is what is happening when it is into the sign of exaltation. Okay, now for the debilitation, the sign of debilitation for Venus is Virgo. Why Virgo is debilitated? In fact, you would see that Virgo is the sign which is ruled by the planet Mercury, which is a friend to the Venus. Still, this Venus gets debilitated into the sign of its friend. Why? Venus, like Virgo, is the planet which is all about the scrutiny, is about diving deep and analyzing everything, or I would say over analyzing things, sorting things, processing the information, and here Venus doesn't like it. Venus doesn't feel comfortable. Venus wants to connect with that person, feel the connection at the soul level, love from the bottom of their heart, without thinking about gains, without thinking about pros and cons, without being calculative. Okay, and Venus into the sign of Virgo. Virgo is the sign of analysis. So these people, when they get into a relationship, they're over analyzing the person. And that's the sign that Venus is not developed. Venus is not into its own element. Venus is not comfortable with connecting with people, loving other people, right? Is still analyzing. This itself shows some kind of a lack, some kind of lack into the person's ability to connect with the people. Now, the element associated with Virgo sign is earth. These elements are super important. So when we talk about earth, what is earth? Earth is what it shows, like it's at the surface level, right? Water goes deep. So the Venus in the water element goes deep into the subject, into in a relationship or any connection. But on the other hand, the planet Venus into the earth element shows they become selfish. Not selfish, but they become more like, what I would get if I do this, what I would get if I don't do this, right? They become calculative. And that's what the earth is all about. Earth is, being real and practical. and not being idealistic or daydreaming, right? So this Venus into the debilitation doesn't allow these people to be, being into the fantasy world. They bring them into the real world. Even if somebody is into blindly loving somebody and they have debilitated Venus, they will have an alarming, but hey, what are you doing? He's not the right person. He doesn't have the education. He doesn't have the money. He doesn't have so and so, and it will make you uh, get paralyzed in making decision around your relationship, and that's what the debilitation is. Debilitation is not bad. It's your experience towards the relationship. It's like you have to go through this journey to have a better relationship in your life. In order to get a better into relationship, you have to go through all this hell, right? Now, in the Virgo sign, we have three nakshatras: Uttara, Phalguni, Hasta, and Chitra. In Uttara Phalguni, we have four padas: Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay, and next is Hasta nakshatra, and Hasta nakshatra has four padas, and four padas of the Hasta nakshatra are Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and two padas of Chitra nakshatra are also into the Virgo sign. So let's say you have Venus debilitated into your chart, and it is into the fourth pada of the Uttara Phalguni nakshatra. So it goes into the debilitation. So once you are into the process of analyzing for the relationship, you will come out of it, and you will be able to relate with the other people. You will be able to love everybody, and you would be able to love unconditionally. Okay, and that's the transformation from being debilitated into the D1 chart. When it goes into the fourth pada of Uttara Phalguni, it goes into the Pisces Navamsha. Okay, so it shows um, that the transformation from being calculative to opening your heart and loving everyone around you. Okay, similarly, if it goes into the second pada of the if it goes into the second pada of the Hasta nakshatra, it goes into the Taurus Navamsha. So in the D1 chart, you have Venus into the sign of Virgo. Now it is going into the sign of Taurus, and the element is also same. Now it is also into the earth element, Taurus, right? So here also Venus will give you good results. It will give you stability with tangible resources in relationship. It will make you stand up for your relationship. It will make you take an effort towards your relationship. Okay, now the another nakshatra into this range is Chitra nakshatra, and it has two padas. So one is Leo, and the second pada is Virgo. So again, when you have debilitated Venus and it goes into the second pada of the Chitra nakshatra, it becomes vargottama. It is a kind of a cancellation of the debilitation. And if you look at them, what's happening it's like when it goes vargottama, it gives you the good results around that house, around that plan. Okay, so even if you have a debilitated Venus, there are so many layers to it. Okay, let's say you have debilitated Venus and you have Venus into the fourth pada of Uttara Phalguni, or the second pada of Hasta, or second pada of the Chitra, or even the third pada of the Chitra, which is into Libra. So even though Venus is debilitated into the sign of Virgo, it still gives great results into these degrees and these nakshatras as well. Okay, So whenever you are judging any exaltation or debilitation, always look at the sign, element, lordship, nakshatra, navamsha pada, and exactly what's happening into the padas. Okay, so that will determine the real uh, effect of that planet, rather than just, oh, it's debilitated, so it's not going to give you good results. So it doesn't work. And sometimes, let's say you have Venus placed into these signs, into the sign of Virgo, and it's not in the nakshatra of, like, fourth pada of Uttara Phalguni, or the second pada of Hasta, or the second pada of Chitra. Let's say it's into the second pada of Uttara Phalguni. Okay. Still, let's say if it is connected with, like, it's conjunct with the Venus, sorry, conjunct with the Mercury. So again, it will cancel the debilitation. Okay, and it will give you good results around that. So what you have to do is you have to look for the Navamsha and the Pada into the Navamsha, and you also have to see the conjunction of the planets into the Padas, or into the D1 chart, to see the Nicha Bhanga, the cancellation of the debilitation. Okay, so once you know all these things, then only you can conclude, or at least come to some uh, observations as to how your Venus is going to give you good results. Okay, so now let's look at the, okay, and if you want to download this PDF, I'll be sharing this slide with you. If you want to download this, just check out the link into the description. Okay, I'll be sharing this as a downloadable. You can download this for your reference. Okay, now let's look at the questions. Venus in 12th house for Libra ascendant. Remedies could get good results of the Venus. Okay, so Venus in the 12th house is a good placement. Let me tell you that. Okay, don't think that Venus in the 12th house is a bad placement. Venus is the planet of bed pleasures, and 12th house is the house of bed pleasures, right? It is about the sexual interactions or secret bed pleasures, and Venus is exactly about your sexual activities. So it gives you good result. But when it goes into the Virgo sign, check for the Mercury. If Mercury is also associated with it, it will give you good results around that house. But 12th, Venus in the 12th house in general is not at all a bad placement. Okay. For Virgo ascendant, seventh Lord Jupiter in the sixth house with Ketu, and Jupiter conjunct in Aquarius, Parivartan with Saturn in the seventh house by Pisces spouse. Do you have any question around Venus exaltation or debilitation? Audio clear? Okay, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Tinajit. Thank you, Neha. Pratyusha. Venus with Mercury in the 12th house for Taurus ascendant. Yes, this is great. So now it is into the first house. It's into the first sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. Okay. So for you, 12th Lord is going into the first Lord, the Taurus, the Venus is going into the 12th house. So it's like your life focus will be on the 12th house things, which is about the foreign things, and it is also about the spiritual practices. Okay, and it is also about building some secret talent, developing the secret talent can also be seen with this placement. Maya Khan, what if debilitated Venus is with Rahu? Now, when Venus is debilitated and it conjuncts with Rahu, what it shows is the the sign of Virgo is very good sign for Rahu. Okay, because it gives it stability. It doesn't give him unnecessary energy like Aries or Scorpio, but it somehow stabilizes it. And when Venus and Rahu into the sign of Virgo, one thing I would recommend is when you are getting into a relationship, you have to be really uh, like you don't have to fall for someone just by looking at certain traits into that person, right? It's normal to get attracted to certain people because of some of the virtues they have, but whenever you get attracted to somebody, just write down the thing you like about them and keep that thing aside, and then look for what else you like in that person. And if you don't find any answer to that, then probably you should not proceed into that relationship. Okay, because usually what happens with Rahu and Venus is it somehow they have to invest a lot of time into the relationship. Relationship takes a lot of time with Rahu and Venus person. Okay, but this is also a sign and placement which makes you uh, somewhat magnetic in your mannerism and personality. Okay, which you can use it for your you know getting into good relationships, right? You would be able to connect with better people. Okay, but yes, a very good question. What if you have debilitated Venus with Mercury in Virgo? Does this cancel the debilitation? Yes, it cancels debilitation. I've already made a video on Neechabanga Rajyog. You can go and check that. That will really help you. But for your answer to your question, yes, yeah, it does cancel the debilitation. Yes. Tejas Kumar, Venus represents pleasure, comfort, intoxication of subjects. Although this moksha shows that yes, great. Venus in the eighth house for Aquarius is in. Okay. What about that? What is the degree? What is the nakshatra? Okay, we have seen that. Okay, whenever it is into the debilitation sign, check for the nakshatra and also the navamsha. So anywhere it is placed into the second pada of the hasta or the fourth pada of phalguni or even the second pada of Chitra. So when Venus is debilitated, it is allowing and giving more and more chance to be giving good results instead of just being debilitated. It's getting into the exaltation pada, it getting into the self pada, into the vargottama pada, three of it into the same Rashi. Okay, so Venus in the eighth house doesn't really mean anything unless you judge the conjunction and all other factors. Venus in the eighth house for Libra ascendant. Yes, for Libra it goes into the Taurus sign, and I really like, let me tell you, don't be afraid of placement of Venus in the eighth house and the 12th house. These two are very good placement for Venus to have. Okay, you might think that Venus in the first house would give you good results, but what I have observed is Venus gives good result into the fourth house, eighth house, and 12th house. Okay, so whenever let's say you have Venus in the eighth house is the house of your magnetism. Okay, it's the house of how attractive you are or how people perceive you as a person. Okay, And eighth house is also about the house of your secrecy, and it is also the house of your legacy. And Venus is the legacy, right? So Venus in the eighth house is a very good placement, and that too into for the Libra sign, it goes into the sign of Taurus. Very good placement. I like this. Okay, so don't get into a fear mode if you have Venus placed into the eighth or the 12th house. Okay, how is Venus in the seventh house in Virgo for Pisces ascendant? For Virgo, it rules the Virgo rules the 12th, the ninth house, and the second house. So the Lord of the second house and the ninth house coming into the seventh house and exalted, and is also aspecting the first house of your personality. So what it shows is your second lord into the seventh house and ninth lord into the seventh house, aspecting the ascendant. Ninth house is the most benefic house, the house of Bhagya. That's why we look for the chart, right? We want to see the fortune. We want to see the good things in our chart, right? So the lord of the ninth house aspecting the Lagna is a very strong point for your Lagna. And that too into the sign of exaltation, into the house of your partner, shows the fortune through the marriage or association or through the partner. Okay, what if Venus debilitated? What if Venus is debilitated and at fourth house of Gemini ascendant, and Rahu exalted at the 12th house in Taurus sign? Will it anyway cancel debilitation of Venus? Uh, I don't know why it would cancel the debilitation. It would cancel the debilitation if it is conjunct with the Venus. This Mercury is conjunct with the Venus, then it will create an each point. When Venus and Mercury are conjunct into the sign of Virgo or the sign of Pisces, okay, then it creates an Ichumanga for Venus and Mercury. In the sign of Pisces, Venus gets exalted and Mercury gets debilitated. Okay, and in the Virgo sign, Mercury is getting exalted and Venus gets debilitated. Okay, so these two signs, whenever you see a planet or want to judge a planet, always look for the conjunction of the Venus and the Mercury. Okay, if these two planets are conjunct in these signs, in these two signs, especially the sign of Virgo and Pisces, it will most definitely cancel the debilitation. Okay, but Rahu being into the 12th house doesn't add any impact for being canceling the uh, debilitation of Venus. A Venus 12th from the moon in D1 and Venus 6th from the moon in D9 can mean anything. Okay, so don't just get into the first look at the D1 and that is enough for you. Harshit. So I have Venus in Pisces in 4th house in D10 chart with Mercury. Yes, wonderful. Venus, Venus in Virgo, 8th house, along with Mercury and Sun, Aquarius ascendant. Wonderful. That's what we are discussing, right? We are talking about Venus and Mercury conjunct into the sign of Pisces or Virgo, the sign of exaltation and the sign of debilitation. Either of them get debilitated and exalted and will give you good results around that house. So when you have Venus and Mercury connected into the 8th house, it shows greater connection with the artistic pursuits and also inclination towards the alternate healings and other occult and mysterious and mystical practices. Okay, so Venus Ketu conjunct in the 10th house for Pisces ascendant. So Pisces ascendant, you will have it into the sign of Sagittarius. Okay. Venus with Mercury Libra, we talked about that. Who else has debilitated Venus? Okay. My son has Venus debilitated into the 7th house. The IAT 90. Brother, next could you speak about Venus in Pisces, but the 6th house? I heard this exaltation because of the house is worse than debilitation. Okay. So let's talk about what happens when you have Venus placed into the sign of Pisces. We have received this question from the 1890. Okay, thank you, the 1890, for supporting this channel through super chat. I really appreciate that. Okay, regarding your question, when you have Venus exalted, it is exactly opposite to its sign of debilitation. Okay, and when you have debilitated planet into the 6th house, doesn't mean it will give the result of the sign of debilitation. No, it's not right. Okay, but it will give you the result of Venus in the 6th house. So judge it through the Venus in the 6th house and a planet is exalted. Okay, this is how you can analyze it. And what happens when you have Venus placed into the 6th house, and uh, when you have Venus placed into the 6th house, it the 6th house is also the house of Artha, the finance. Okay, and Venus is the planet of wealth. So it helps you to create wealth through your effort. Okay, now the planet of Venus is a planet of easy money in a way. Okay, it's not like Saturn, which will make you work. But the 6th house is the house of continuous efforts. Okay, so when Venus comes in here, it will give you financial stability through your grind, through your work. Okay, yes. Okay, Debu Gamer. But hello, Debu. You don't have to do the course. You can watch the free videos. I have made a playlist on 27 nakshatras. You just go and watch that. That is more than enough for you to get you started. Do session for Mars in Cancer. I'm planning to do this sequence for all the planets. Please share your comment if you want me to do that. Otherwise, I won't do that. Okay. Venus exalted and debilitated into the, yeah, that's what we discussed, right? When you have Venus exalted with Mercury, you will have, like, Mercury will give good results as well. Libra ascendant in D1 chart, 12th house, Mercury and debilitated Venus are conjunct. How will be the marriage life? So when you have Venus placed for Libra ascendant, Venus is ruling the ascendant. Okay, so now for you, Venus is the lord of the first house, is going into the 12th house and is conjunct the 12th house. Okay, so for Libra ascendant, it's the conjunction between the first lord, the sixth lord, and not the sixth lord, the eighth lord, and the ninth lord, right? So the sign Virgo is having two planets with lordship of the two rashis. Okay, so Mercury into the 12th house is all about the divine guidance. Okay, I've seen people with the Mercury in the 12th house with the divine guidance, but the problem with these people is they have problem with communication. They are shy. They don't like to communicate with other people. Other people might think that they have an attitude, like they're not, but they are going through a lot of things. When you have Mercury into the 12th house, it's not an easy placement. It also shows some challenges while speaking to other people in the early age. Okay, so all these things also impact your marriage because the Venus is the karaka, the natural significator of the marriage. Okay, and that is going to the 12th house. So you are also have to see the placement of Mars. If Mars is also involved into it, then the seventh lord will really get impacted. Okay, Venus in the 10th, Kritika. Yes, we discussed that. 5 planets in the 4th house. Amazing. Mehapuri. Venus in the 7th, Bharni Padatu in Aries, aspected by Jupiter. Do you have any question around Venus debilitation and exaltation that would really help others as well watching? Rupali Dhami, what if Venus is exalted into the 6th house, natural debilitation, or Venus is debilitated into the 12th house? Okay, now these layers do come in, but they use it as an additional layer. Okay, so first thing is you look for the house placement through your lagna and look at the rashi in the D1. Okay, you always keep that into the mind. It's its association with the natural horoscope. Okay, but that doesn't really change the ultimate interpretation. Okay, let's say you have Venus exalted into the 7th house and is into the natural 6th house, which is 6th from the Aries, which is natural 6th house. So what it shows is you will get the results of the Pisces, but it will take an effort from your side to get those results because of the 6th house of continuous effort as well as the natural 6th house impact on this house. Okay, I hope this helped. Abhilasha Gupta, Venus. I didn't get what do you mean by that. Okay. Exalted Venus conjunct with Rahu into the 1st house of Pisces ascendant. How does this affect the 1st house? Does it increase the material pursuits? You know, most definitely it will increase the desire for the Venusian things because Venus is the planet of desires, Rahu is the planet which amplifies things. Make sense? So when you have Rahu placed in conjunction with Venus in the 1st house, your personality is all about getting the desires fulfilled. Okay, you will strive for that, you will work towards that. Okay, in a way this is a very good placement, and it also makes you beautiful, it will make you attractive. Okay, the more the Venus is close to Rahu, it gives certain kind of a charm and a magnetism to that person. Okay, which we cannot explain, but we can feel it, like the person has something which really draws other people towards them. Okay, that's Venus which is close to Rahu. Okay, now Venus in Aries in Libra ascendant and 9th house in D9. To be frank, when you ask for the D9 placement, it can mean anything. Okay, so focus on the D1 and the nakshatra. It will be more important for you to learn those things rather than just D9 and looking for the placement in the D9. Yes, it is important, but focus more on D1 chart because D1 is going to allow you to derive all the Virgo charts from. Okay. Venus Ketu conjunction, yes. Venus Mars in the 2nd of Leo, yes, very good conjunction. Venus in Cancer, 12th house Leo ascendant, no materialism in life. Why? Venus in Cancer, 12th house Leo ascendant, no materialism in life. You need to check the other placements as well. I don't know your chart, but when Venus is well developed, it gives you the desires which are ethical, and also a sense of, you know, it gives you greater mannerism to enjoy the life. Okay, you will enjoy the life in an ethical way. Okay, so boss, Rahu, Shukra, Buddha in Scorpio. How? I didn't get the question. Okay, Venus in Leo Puram Pada, one in the eighth house, aspected by retrograde Saturn. How will be the materialism? I didn't get the question. Jupiter Ketu in the sixth house for Cancer. Yes. Today we are talking about the debilitation and exaltation of Venus. So some say debilitated Venus give good-looking spouse. Is it true? It all depends on whenever a planet is exalted, it is always aspecting the sign of debilitation. When a planet is debilitated, it is always aspecting the sign of exaltation. Let's say Venus gets exalted into the sign of Pisces. And what is the sign of debilitation? That's Virgo, which is exactly opposite to the Venus, right? So whenever you have a planet placed into the exaltation, you will experience the debilitation of the Venus as well, right? And you will have, when you have debilitated Venus, you will experience the exaltation of that planet as well. Okay, so let's say you have Venus debilitated and is aspecting the sign of exaltation of the Venus. What it shows is it will improve your debilitation with the Pisces qualities. Okay, one, if you follow the Pisces qualities, you will improve your Virgo Venus. Okay, let's say we talked about it. Virgo is all about the analysis, and Pisces is all about daydreaming to some extent, going deep, and also about having the larger connections. Point here is whenever a planet is debilitated, it aspects the 180 degrees away from it, exaltation or debilitation. So more than exaltation and debilitation, always look for the Mool Trikon sign. That is more powerful. I always believe that Mool Trikon sign is far more powerful than exaltation or debilitation. Why? Because for exaltation and debilitation, you depend on the lord of that planet. Let's say you have Venus exalted into the sign of Pisces, but Jupiter is debilitated into the sign of Capricorn. Then again, there will be some rules, and you need to analyze whether it is getting cancelled and so on. But again, there would be dependency on the lord of that house. But let's say you have Venus placed into the sign of Libra. It's in own sign. You don't have to judge any other thing. Let's say it's into the sign of Taurus. You don't have to go anywhere. You just have to judge the Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, no other planet or ruler, nothing. And that's why Mool signs are far more important and far more powerful than any other placement. Okay. Sabetut, welcome back after so many days. Welcome on the channel. Venus, Mars in the ninth house, Virgo, 21. Yes, this is what we have discussed into the Nichamanga scenario, okay, or the cancellation of the debilitation. Shukra Yantra is effective. No, I don't know. Venus in the eighth house for Leo ascendant. For Leo ascendant, it goes into the exaltation sign of Pisces, into the eighth house. And here's the thing: you will be surprised to know that all the spiritual houses are also the houses of the sexual interactions. Okay, eighth house is about the eighth house is about the secretive relationships and also about the sexual intercourse. And 12th house is also about the pet pleasure. Okay, so eighth house is all about the secretive relationships. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, been a very long time. Glad you remember me. Was away from YouTube for very long. Yes, I remember all the people whom I have interaction through the comment. Right, I remember you used to comment and I used to reply to it. I read all the comments and reply to all the comments, but keep posting. And if you ever come back to YouTube, watch the videos, and more than that, stay connected. Okay, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it. My Venus is in Scorpio, Jeshta, 6th house, D1. And I have 4 planets in the 8th house. How do they affect each other, as 8th house being natural house of Scorpio? To be frank, I'm not able to visualize and won't be able to analyze so many planets. Okay, but the point here is check the lordship, check the temporal benefic and natural malefic, and see what's happening. Is the key to study this. Venus in the 12th house, hasta nakshatra. See, if you have Venus in the hasta nakshatra, right, and if it is into the second pada, Jitesh Nair, just confirm if you have Venus into hasta nakshatra in which pada. If it is into the taurus pada, it goes into its own sign. Okay, and I don't recommend any kind of remedies or any kind of gemstones. I don't know any remedy which works, so I don't recommend any remedies. Okay, so I won't be able to help you with the remedies. Apologies for that. It's second pada. Okay, so if you look at this chart, hasta nakshatra navamsha, it is into the second pada and it goes into the taurus navamsha. So you don't have to do any remedy. Okay, don't ever go and do any kind of remedy, because it's into the taurus navamsha, its own pada. So this debilitation is getting somewhat cancelled. Okay, so Venus in the 6th house, Swati nakshatra and Libra. What about that? So I have Venus in Purva phalguni nakshatra. Okay, so it's into the Leo sign vargottama and bhavattama in 9th house. Self-thought and darakaraka, both mercury in there. No, it's more about your darakaraka and its condition. Okay, and if you don't have any association of the Saturn with the 7th house, which is more about the cold and about the feelings of being cold, then you are good to go with these placements. Yudhishna, yes, don't even think about any remedies. You're absolutely great, because you have Venus in its own sign in the Navamsha. Okay, did I miss any question? No. Venus in 12th house for Gemini ascendant. So it goes into Taurus in Rohini with Mars and Moon. What could be the result? It can be anything, but it is very good for getting great gains from the foreign source. Okay. Okay, I think I covered all the questions. Do you have any question? By the way, if you want to download this PDF, this slide, I'll send you the link to download it. You can download into the, I will pin that into the comment section. Just get that, okay, if you are interested into this document, okay, which will help you to understand this concept. Yes. So any other question? Otherwise, we're going to wrap up for the day. It's Zell. Do you have any question, or did I miss your question? My Venus is in Hasta in the first, with Saturn and Jupiter in my D1. Then it's in Rohini in the 4th house in D9. Okay, I don't know about the nakshatras in D9, but when it is in the Hasta, we can definitely check. For Hasta, in the first house, in the first pada, it goes into the Aries Navamsha. Okay. Thank you so much for answering, Prasadji. May God bless you. Thank you, Shwetaji. Same feelings for you. Praying for your highest good and greatest growth. Yes, yes, yes. It's in Aries Navamsha. How to judge a planet if it's Lord of 8 and 9? Yes, this is advanced. Yes, this is something tricky and advanced. I will discuss this. Maybe I'll make a separate video on this. So, very good question. This has always been a question. What if a planet is ruling the Dushtana house and a good house? How would you analyze that? Venus in Leo Pura Pada in 8th. I think we discussed this. So Venus in Ardra Nakshatra, Scorpio Lagna, 8th house. Yes. Venus in the 11th house in Leo. Wonderful. I came late, so I apologize if you covered that. Nothing to apologize for. We are here sharing and having great conversation with each other. There's nothing to be apologetic about. Okay. Thank you for coming in and sharing your time with us, spending your time with us. Yeah. Anidita Chakrabarti, Venus in Sagittarius in Purva in Purvashada nakshatra for Sagittarius ascendant. How does it give result in 6th and 11th? Yeah. Venus in Sagittarius, it rules the 6th lord. Again, I will make a video. How many of you want to have a video on this concept? I'll make a video on it. Just put that into the comment section as yes. I would definitely make a video on that. Just remind me of that, because I sometimes tend to forget this. Okay, so we will have a poll, but even if you don't have a poll on the community tab, just keep sharing your thoughts as well. Is there any hope that accidentally exalted Venus 12th house Mrugashira Mithun Rashi Buddha Graha in 11th house will be loved as it deserves? Why not? Most definitely. So the planet vargottama in trine, although in enemy sign, is weak or strong, also the ruler. Now this is something which cannot be explained in one sentence. Okay, there are almost more than 20 to 30 rules around that. Okay, just like yoga karaka planets, there are certain rules with these houses as well. Okay, but you are on the right track. You are searching the your analysis is right, and this question is a quality question, very good question. Okay, you should ask these questions. Very good. Okay, Gemini, ascendant 11th house, and Aries, but degree wise falls in the 10th house. Pisces wise. Check the Bhavachari chart. What is the result? Will reserve transit of Venus. Usually, I don't track the transit of Venus mostly. I only consider the transit of Rahu, Ketu, Saturn, Jupiter. That's it. Venus in the 9th house, conjunction with the North Node. Yes. Please, sir, that would be excellent. Thank you. I have Venus in the 8th house in Kritika and Pisces sign Navamsha moon. Very Namaskara. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Marija. For Gemini ascendant, Venus in 11th house, Aries, but degree wise it falls into the 10th house. So what is the effect? That's what I told you, right? Check the Bhavachari chart and see what is the Bhava, the real Bhava, and what is the Rashi. Always look for that. So Rahu, Saturn, Lagnish. No, we are not talking about anything else today. We're only purely talking about the placement of the Venus. Transit of the Venus is not so significant because it is only for the few months, few days, and it will have some impact, but I don't track it unless I'm not analyzing it for a person. Okay, but I don't make videos on Venus transit and all kinds of transit. No, I don't. I don't make videos on Venus transits, but I make videos on Jupiter transit or the bigger transits. Okay. In fact, this will somewhat make you insecure so that you won't take hasty decisions. Analysis will help you to get carried away. Aquarius ascendant, Venus in Pisces with Sun, Ketu, Saturn, Mercury, and 7th house aspect around Jupiter. How to judge this exalted Venus? There is no formula to judge this. You have to go one by one through lordship, conjunctions, planet, and all kinds of things. Okay. Venus in the 11th house. I think we did that. Simple thus. I think I have emailed you around. I don't know why I emailed you. I think you were having some problem with. You have some questions around your Venus, and you have it in Leo, is it? Okay, because I could remember your name, but I forgot why I emailed you. Anyway, Venus in the 11th house, Leo in Libra rising. So it rules when it is into the Libra rising, it rules the 8th house and the 1st house, right? Again, one good house and one Dushtana house, right? So, and it goes into one good house, the 11th house of gain. So 12th house, 8th house into the 11th house shows sudden gains. Okay. So yes, this was Venus exalted versus Venus debilitated. If you want to download this, I would share the link with you to download this, where you would be able to get this PDF and you would be able to work on your own and you don't need me anymore. Okay. So yes, thank you. Sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibrations. See you in the next stream. with some another interesting topics. Till then, namaste.